The snow was falling harder than I'd ever seen it. Thick, wet flakes landed on the trash bags at our feet, soaking through what little we had left. My hands were shaking, partly from the cold, partly from the rage building in my chest. Maya stood beside me, clutching her stomach, her breath fogging in the air. She was 8 months pregnant, wearing a thin coat that barely zipped up over her belly. Her lips were turning blue. "Please," she said, her voice cracking as she looked past me, back at the front steps. "Just one more night. Just until morning." Eliza stepped forward. Her heels clicked on the stone like she was walking a runway. "You don't get to beg here," she said, smiling. "Especially not you." Maya flinched. I moved in front of her, but it didn't matter. Eliza wasn't done. "You should be thankful we didn't call the cops. God knows how long you two would have squatted in the guest house like rats." Nathan laughed behind her, arms folded like he was watching a joke play out. Carter leaned against the doorway, sipping something from a glass. None of them looked cold. None of them even looked human to me anymore. "She's pregnant," I said quietly. "She's my wife." Carter snorted. "Yeah, and whose fault is that? You chose her, remember? Over us. Over the family. I didn't choose anyone. I just wanted. What? Respect? A cut of Dad's money? Please." Eliza stepped closer, looked Maya up and down, then said, "She's a gold-digging stray. You married a walking red flag." Maya's hand gripped mine so tight it hurt. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. I could feel her heartbreak. "We'll leave," I said finally. "We're not staying where we're not wanted." "Good," Carter said. "Because the locks are changed, and the alarm's set. So if you try to come back." "We won't," I said. I bent down and picked up the soaked bags. My fingers were numb. I couldn't feel my skin anymore. Maya didn't move until I did. As we walked toward the gate, the front door slammed shut behind us. Then I heard it laughing. All 3 of them. Like this was some kind of twisted game. Like throwing us out into the snow was funny. I didn't look back. They told me I was nothing without them. I said nothing back, but I remembered every word. 2 years before that night in the snow, things were already cracking beneath the surface. Maya and I were living in the guest house at the back of the family estate. It was small, nothing fancy compared to the mansion up front, but it was quiet and ours, for a while at least. I'd taken myself out of the family business 2 years earlier, walked away from board meetings, luxury travel, and fake smile. All of it. I didn't want to compete with Carter. I didn't want to play Eliza's mind games or laugh at Nathan's stupid jokes. I just wanted a normal life, a real one. I met Maya at a bookstore downtown. She didn't care about money or last name. She worked 2 jobs, read poetry, and asked me real questions no one else ever did. So I married her. That's when the tension with my family became something more dangerous. Carter called her a charity project. Eliza never even looked her in the eye. Nathan said I was having some kind of rebellious rich kid phase, and that I'd grow out of it once I got bored. But I never did. We stayed in the guest house because Dad let us. He said as long as we didn't cause problems, we could stay as long as we needed. I respected him for that. He didn't always understand me, but he didn't throw me away either. The rest of them hated that. Especially Carter. He ran the company, wore the suits, held the power. But deep down, I think he hated that Dad still kept a place for me. A spot they thought I didn't deserve. Then Maya got pregnant. The second we told them, everything shifted. At first, it was fake smiles and stiff congratulations. Then came the comments. "Hope you're not expecting a baby shower from us," Eliza said. Carter pulled me aside a week later. Told me, "You're making things harder on everyone by staying here. We're running a legacy. You're playing house with someone who married you for a roof." Nathan chimed in from the kitchen one morning with a laugh. "You planning to raise that kid in a shack out back? Or are you going to finally ask for real money?" Maya heard every word. She never said anything, but I saw how much it hurt her. That's when I started looking for a way out. Quietly. I didn't have money. I didn't have power. But I wasn't useless. And I was done living under the IR roof. The call came on a cold Thursday morning. Dad had died in his sleep. No warning, no goodbye. Just gone. Maya was the one who answered the phone. She turned to me, eyes wide, one hand on her stomach. "Daniel, it's your dad." We barely spoke on the drive to the lawyer's office. The house felt different already. Colder. Quieter. Carter greeted us with a handshake like we were strangers. Eliza didn't even look up from her phone. Nathan smirked at Maya like she didn't belong there. We sat around the massive mahogany table, the kind you only see in movies or expensive offices. The lawyer read the will with his voice flat and formal, like this was just another routine. Carter was named CEO permanently. Nathan got shares in the family's investment firm. Eliza inherited the beach property and Dad's collection of classic cars. "And Daniel?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The lawyer cleared his throat. "There's no mention of Daniel in the formal document." My chest tightened. "That's not possible. He wouldn't." Carter interrupted with a chuckle. "He didn't forget you." He pulled a small envelope from his suit pocket, and slid it across the table toward me. It wasn't sealed with a stamp or legal seal, just Dad's messy handwriting across the front. Daniel. Inside was a small, rusty key. Attached to it was a folded piece of paper, the kind you'd find on a desk covered in coffee ring. For words were written in thick black ink. Earn it, or destroy it. No address, no explanation. Just that. What is this? I asked, holding the key up. Some kind of joke? Carter leaned back. Looks like a final test, little brother. Or maybe just a final insult. Eliza snorted. He probably left you the storage shed. Nathan added, or a janitor's closet. Seems fitting. I stared at the key. It was old, worn, but still solid. Whatever it opened, Dad had made sure it didn't come easy. And he'd made sure I'd get it without their help. He trusted me with something. I said quietly, more to myself than anyone. No, Carter said with a grin. He left you with nothing. I didn't respond. I just pocketed the key, stood up, and helped Maya to her feet. Let them laugh. Let them think it was over. Dad didn't leave me nothing. He left me a door. And I was going to find out exactly where it led. We packed up what little we had left and left the estate the next morning. No goodbyes. No help. Just a rusted key, some old clothes, and barely enough cash for gas. Maya kept her hand on her belly the whole drive. I kept mine on the steering wheel, gripping it like I was trying to squeeze a plan out of it. We stayed in a rundown motel on the edge of town, the kind with flickering lights and cigarette burns on the blankets. The air smelled like bleach and mold. It was all we could afford. Maya got a job cleaning offices at night. She came home with swollen feet and fake smile. Sometimes I caught her crying in the bathroom when she thought I was asleep. I offered to find work too, but I couldn't stop thinking about the key. I carried it everywhere, stared at it like it would start speaking to me. I searched online, cross-checked addresses from my father's old record. Nothing matched. I went to storage units he might have owned. I tried old business locations. Maya thought I was chasing a ghost. Maybe I was, but I couldn't let it go. One night, after almost 6 months of searching, I found something. An old property listed under a shell company my father had used when he first started out. An address in Detroit, barely mentioned in any official files. It was still registered, still paying taxes, but no one had touched it in years. I drove there alone while Maya slept. The neighborhood was nearly abandoned, windows boarded up, streets quiet and cold. The building was a big, rusted warehouse with a heavy lock on the front. My hands shook as I pulled the key out. It slid in perfectly. Inside, dust choked the air. Broken equipment was scattered everywhere. But deep in the back, past shelves full of old hardware and forgotten tools, I found it. A metal workbench. A computer built into a strange-looking frame. Blueprints pinned to the wall. Notes written in Dad's handwriting. It was a prototype for something he had started before the big company. Early tech he never brought to market. It was brilliant, raw, and untouched for decades. He hadn't disowned me. He'd given me something real. Something only I would understand. I stood there in the dim light, surrounded by old dreams and quiet air. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The prototype looked like junk to anyone else. Wires hanging loose, cracked screen, dust thick as carpet. But I saw what it could be. It was my father's early idea for an AI logistics system, designed before the tech even existed to support it. It tracked patterns, optimized supply chains, predicted inventory flows. It was ahead of its time. And now, finally, the world had caught up. I spent months fixing it in that warehouse. No heat, barely any light. I watched tutorials, read old notes, pieced together what I didn't understand. Maya brought me food, blankets, and quiet support. She never asked for a timeline. She never asked for a break. She just believed in me when I didn't even know if I was right. When I finally rebuilt a working model, I pitched it to every small business owner I could find. Most laughed me off. One didn't. He tested the system for a month, saved thousands in costs, and introduced me to his cousin, an angel investor from Chicago. From there, it moved fast. I got seed funding, rented a real office, hired 2 engineers and a business grad who thought I was crazy until he saw the data. We named the company StriveFlow, because that's what it was. Movement, survival, clarity. I worked 18-hour days. So did Maya. She handled calls, meetings, paperwork. She cleaned the office. She even fixed bugs in the software, learning on the go. Every investor, every early client, they all loved her. She made people feel seen. I still remember sitting across from our first big investor, a sharp-dressed guy with a Rolex and a grin, who asked, "So who's CEO?" I pointed at Maya. She froze. "Me. She's the heart of it," I told him. "Without her, none of this exists." She cried in the car after that. Didn't say why. She didn't have to. We didn't stop. We kept growing. The tech worked. It saved businesses money. It scaled better than anything else in the space. Within 3 years, StriveFlow was valued at over $200 million. But no press. No TV interviews. No headlines. I didn't want the world to know just yet. Not until the right moment. I kept my name out of articles, hid behind shell corporations and quiet boardroom. No one connected Daniel Walker, the dropout brother, with the new company shaking up the logistics world. I didn't need credit. I just needed time. Time to build. Time to come back on my terms. Carter always believed his company was untouchable. After Dad passed, he took the reins of Walker Global like he'd been born for it, cutting deals, slashing staff, expanding fast. But he didn't know how to adapt. The world was changing, and Carter still ran things like it was 2005. The cracks started small. A major logistics supplier pulled out of their contract unexpectedly. Orders got delayed. Warehouses backed up. Clients started complaining. Carter blamed the supplier. He didn't know that I owned it now, quietly, through a shell company in Delaware. I pulled the plug after we bought it outright. Then we started acquiring more. Slowly, quietly, under different names. We bought up shares of Walker Global every week. Not enough to trigger alarms, but just enough to chip away at his control. By the time the board noticed anything, we'd already passed 12%. Meanwhile, Eliza was busy playing financial queen. She managed the estate's investment fund, bragging about her diversified portfolio and emerging tech plays. So I sent in a pitch through one of our other startups, packaged with a fake founder, glowing projections, and a fake competitor bidding war. She bit hard, dumped a huge chunk of family trust money into what she thought was an exclusive deal. She even bragged about it on social media. When you know tech, you know where to place your chips. Her followers ate it up. She had no idea she was pumping our company's value. And Nathan, he was the easiest. He'd started dabbling in crypto scams, flipping NFTs, bragging about hustling like a boss. I had receipts, screenshots, wallet addresses, and one long PDF file that showed exactly how much investor money he'd quietly moved into personal accounts. I sent the file anonymously to a journalist I knew. 2 days later, Nathan's name was trending, for all the wrong reasons. His accounts were frozen. His reputation tanked. Carter and Eliza distanced themselves fast. The family was falling apart from the inside, and they didn't even realize who was moving the pieces. I watched from my office window as it all unfolded. Maya sat across from me, reading through a contract. "They don't even know you're behind it," she said, smiling without looking up. "Not yet," I said. The chessboard was set, every piece in place, and they were still playing checkers. The gala was held at the Grand Marlowe Hotel, the same place they'd hosted it every year. Gold trim, glass chandeliers, violin music drifting through the air. Everyone wore black and silver. Everyone was rich, loud, and proud of it. Maya and I walked in like we belonged, because now we did. She wore a deep green silk gown that hugged her figure perfectly, her pregnant belly proud and visible. I had on a tailored black suit, nothing flashy, but sharp enough to turn heads. No one recognized us at first. Two ghosts walking through a crowd that had already buried us. Eliza brushed right past us, laughing with some investor in a velvet blazer. Nathan was at the bar, pretending he wasn't being watched. Carter stood near the stage, drink in hand, all confidence and fake charm. The king about to fall off his throne. We waited. The music stopped. Carter took the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice booming across the room. "I know this year has been full of challenges, but I'm proud to announce a major acquisition tonight that will ensure Walker Global's future for decades to come." Applause. Cameras flashing. He smiled like he'd just saved the world. Then I stepped forward. "Funny," I said, loud enough for the room to hear. I was going to say the same thing. Carter blinked. His smile froze. Whispers moved through the crowd like electricity. People turned to look. Eliza frowned, staring at me like she couldn't place the face. Then she looked at Maya, and her eyes widened. "Oh my God," someone whispered. "Is that Daniel?" Nathan's glass slipped out of his hand and shattered. Carter cleared his throat. "You're not invited." "I know," I said. "Didn't think I needed an invite to my own party." Carter tried to speak, but I cut him off. "You were talking about your acquisition? The one you thought would save your company. The buyer you never saw." I smiled. "That was me." Silence. Maya stepped beside me, calm, strong, beautiful. "I own Walker Global now," I said. "And the estate. And the foundation. You know, the house you kicked us out of." Eliza gasped. Her champagne glass tilted, spilling all over her silver dress. "You kicked us out of your house," I said, looking right at Carter. "Now I own your house. I'm just here to collect the keys." No one moved. No one said a word. And in that moment, the room belonged to us. After the shock wore off, they scrambled. Carter found me near the balcony, fake smile glued to his face. "Daniel," he said, "look, I think we both know this has all been a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" I said. "You threw my pregnant wife out in the snow." His smile cracked just a little. "We were under pressure back then. The business, everything was happening so fast. You know how family dynamics get. Eliza appeared, holding a folded check. Let's be practical, she said, handing it toward me. We can work something out. A buyout, if that's what you want. I didn't even look at the number. I just said, do you think this fixes something? She blinked. I'm trying to be generous. No, I said. You're trying to stay relevant. Nathan, of course, slithered in next. Look, I didn't even know half of what was happening. The lawyers handled most of it. I was just following the paperwork. I laughed once, short and sharp. You laughed in my face while my wife begged for one more night of shelter. Was that also the lawyers? He looked away. They kept circling me, talking fast, deals, ideas, reconciliation, moving forward. But not one of them said sorry. Not once. Maya stood a few steps back, hands gently resting on her stomach. Her face calm, unreadable. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. You all made your choice, I said finally. You wanted to erase me. Pretend I was the weak one, the failure. You called her a stray. You laughed when we had nothing. Carter opened his mouth. I raised my hand to stop him. I'm not here to get rich. I already did that. I'm not here for revenge, either. Not exactly. I just wanted you to see it. To know that the man you kicked out built something you couldn't. Not with your money, not with your name. They stood there, quiet now. You thought you were better than me. All of you. You weren't. You still aren't. I turned to leave. Maya stepped up beside me. She looked at them one last time, her eyes soft but distant. They couldn't meet her gaze. We walked out of that ballroom without looking back, hand in hand. No one apologized, so I didn't forgive. The gates opened with a slow creak, and this time, no one stood on the other side to stop us. The estate looked smaller than I remembered. Less like a palace, more like a shell. The paint on the columns was chipped. The garden had weeds. The windows needed cleaning. But it was ours now. All of it. I walked through the front door without knocking. No locked glass. No laughter behind it. Just silence. The foyer echoed with my steps. I moved through each room slowly, my hand brushing against the furniture, the walls. I remembered every moment. Carter mocking me at the dinner table. Eliza talking about stocks while pretending Maya didn't exist. Nathan walking around like the world owed him something. The air still smelled faintly of the cologne Carter used to wear. Upstairs, the bedroom we'd once slept in was empty. Bare. Cold. I opened the window, let the breeze in. The same breeze I'd felt the night we were kicked out, standing in the snow with trash bags at our feet. Maya sat outside now, on the front porch. Same spot where Eliza once stood and called her a gold-digging stray. But now Maya rocked gently in a wooden chair, cradling our baby girl in her. She looked peaceful, almost glowing in the afternoon light. Our daughter, 5 months old, wide-eyed, strong, gurgled softly against her chest. She had Maya's smile. I stepped outside and joined them, sitting beside her. She loves the porch, Maya whispered, brushing a fingertip along the baby's cheek. She's not going to grow up hearing she doesn't belong, I said. Not in this house. Maya nodded but said nothing. She didn't need to. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, my copy of Dad's will. The one that left me nothing. The one that handed everything to the people who tried to erase me. I unfolded it slowly, looked at the name written in bold, Daniel Walker, omitted. Then I struck a match. The flames caught quickly. I dropped the paper onto the lawn and watched it curl, blacken, disappear. No lawyers. No keys. No permission needed now. This house, this legacy, didn't belong to Carter, or Eliza, or Nathan. It was mine, and it was hers. Not theirs. Never again. It wasn't about the money. Not really. I thought it was back when I was sleeping on a motel floor with Maya, eating ramen, trying to figure out what the key meant. I thought I wanted revenge, to take back what they stole, to crush them. But standing here now, watching our daughter crawl across the living room floor of a house they said we'd never see again, I know better. It was about respect, about survival, about love. They tried to make me feel small, useless, like I didn't belong unless I played by their rules. But Maya and I made our own rules. We built something better. Not just a company, not just a life, something that couldn't be bought or handed down, something earned. I donated the west side of the estate last month. The lawyers were confused at first. You're giving it away? One of them asked. That's a $10 million parcel. Exactly, I said. It's being turned into housing for young entrepreneurs, kids like I was, people who have ideas, drive, but no support system. No family, no connections, just a dream and nowhere to sleep. They'll have beds now, laptops, mentors, a chance. The same chance I had when my dad left me that key. I sat down last night and wrote a letter for my daughter. She won't understand it yet, but someday she will. You don't need to destroy them, I wrote. Just show them you didn't need them. That's the win. That's how you beat people who tried to write you off, by living like they never mattered. Outside, the sun was setting over the estate. The light hit the lawn just right, long shadows stretching across the grass. I could see the old driveway, the same one they forced us down with trash bags in the snow. Now it was clean, smooth, quiet. I heard from a friend that Carter's trying to launch something new. No traction. Eliza's fund took a huge loss after we pulled out. Nathan still hasn't recovered from the scandal. I don't hate them, but I don't think about them much either. Except when I see them in news clips, standing awkwardly at some event, watching from the edge as Strive Flow gets another award. They smile for the cameras, but they know. They know exactly who built it, and that they can't stop it. They can't ignore it. Not anymore.